Good afternoon from the Localization Unconference in Toronto. We're here with a bunch of localization stars, and one of them is Jenn Sooley. I thought I'd grab her for a minute and ask her a couple of questions. Jenn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick to the audience?
Sure, I'm Jenn. I am the Localization Production Manager for a large enterprise client at Datamundi.ai.
Awesome. So you're going to be able to tell us a bunch of stuff about your localization process. Let's dive right in. Can you walk us through your core localization production workflow at Datamundi?
Yeah, for us, really, the first step is to seek clarity, specifically on what the client's goals are with the content that we're going to be localizing. So rather than just having a set one-size-fits-all localization process, really what we're looking to see is what is the client trying to achieve, how important is the content, and how visible is it going to be? And from there, we have a sequence of steps we can combine in a custom configuration to help them meet their needs.
All right. And obviously, there's so much talk nowadays about data improvements and automation. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen over the last couple of years in your process?
Sure, definitely. Just like everyone else, we are injecting AI into a lot of our local workflows. So we're using LLM-enabled translation. But another thing that we have recently started focusing on with some of our longtime clients, including the one that I work for, is we're looking at how can we leverage their multilingual AI, multilingual data for AI? What other use cases can we think of to take advantage of the data that we're already helping them to produce for various use cases, which could be, internal training chatbots for their team, or even customer-facing applications like virtual assistants for in-store experiences.
That's really interesting. That breaks us out of the translation box, and that's one of my pet peeves. How has the vendor management changed in these last couple of years as well?
Sure. I mean, obviously, we're looking for people with different profiles to help us with some of these services. On the Loc side, things maybe are a little bit more traditional still, but I know, for example, our data team, we're looking for subject matter experts to help validate outputs from LLMs. We're looking for annotators. We're looking for voice collection, project coordinators. So a lot of positions that maybe a traditional LSP wouldn't be recruiting for. So we've definitely had to educate our vendor manager on what the requirements are for those kind of positions and start actively looking for people.
Yeah, and can you share a challenge where the process change was resisted maybe, and how you managed the transition?
I mean, I would say internally on our Loc team, maybe an example is we are implementing AI into some of our workflows. And people worry, how is that going to impact the quality? How is that going to impact our production processes? So the way we worked around that was to do some pilot projects, just to kind of do a proof of concept and test it. And what we were able to find with some of our initial tests actually is that our results from a completely automated, no human in the loop AI workflow were approaching the quality of, or even surpassing, our current translation vendor who's using an NMT with human in the loop workflows. So when you see those kind of results, I think that kind of wins the team over in the long run.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about how you are integrating AI and machine learning into your localization and data services workflow. Any successes you can highlight there, and maybe exceptional things that you're doing at Datamundi?
I mean, certainly in our team, we have had really, really great success with some initial tests for our client. Language results have varied a little bit across our language set, but we know where we need to improve, and on some of the languages, we're already surpassing our expectations. I think one of maybe the challenging aspects of that is just helping the team to upskill and feel confident with some of that new tech.
Yeah. And what are the innovations that you're most excited about in the next 2-3 years?
We are deploying a new multi-agentic LLM solution for some of our translation needs. And I'm really interested in what it can achieve. I really appreciate the fact that it's configurable, so we can give clients options based on pricing, the speed that they need to process text, and also just on their quality requirements. So I think we have some unique options available to us that obviously they're pretty brand new on the market, so we didn't have those in the past, and I think it's going to open a lot of doors for us.
Yeah. I think you've touched on this already briefly, the fact that your team now needs to be trained a lot more to be kept up to speed. What's your internal philosophy on how do you train and keep them up to speed?
So one of the advantages that we have at Datamundi AI is that we have a data services division. And on the Loc side, that is an amazing help to us because our data colleagues have put together a catalog of e-learning for the team, complete with practice exercises, resources, and also tests for them to validate their knowledge. So it really helps our project managers and our linguists on the Loc side to get training from experts, have someone on the other side that they can reach out to with any questions, and validate their knowledge to make sure that they feel comfortable in the solutions they're learning about.
Yeah, I assume that the parameters of what you're looking for in a vendor are changing as well. How do you build and maintain a strong relationship with partners and vendors in your network, and how do you make sure that they can scale according to your needs?
Definitely, I mean, small scale but really highly effective is get references from existing vendors we're happy working with, because when you have someone who's pre-qualified, the onboarding process is going to be a lot shorter. We have a robust testing process as well, and one of the things I really appreciate about our vendor management system is that we are able to store ratings for vendors, assign keywords to help us match them to the projects that most closely suit their skill set. So all of that helps us to very quickly find the people that we need.
Yeah. You're in a position that seems to be very avant-garde as far as your activities at Datamundi. I know that there's a lot of people in the localization that are looking for tips and what the future might look like for their professional life. Do you have any guidelines that you would say linguists or even project managers within the localization industry would need to focus on in order to be competitive in the future and get ready for the jobs that will be changing in the next couple of years in the localization industry?
Maybe just be curious as a starting point, instead of just feeling anxious that things are changing around you. Think about what you know, think about the information you have access to, and maybe start to think of new ways that you could use that to help clients with problems that maybe they're already starting to express, or maybe opportunities that they haven't expressed yet, but where you see that, for example, your multilingual data could help them somehow.
Jenn, thank you so very much for spending a couple of minutes with us here at the Localization Unconference. You've given us a bunch of highlights, I think, in the short time that you interviewed with me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Stefan, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have this chat with you. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How did I